I will now crack on and introduce you to Jason and Vince, who are two of my excellent colleagues at SquaredUp. Jason's our VP of Product and Marketing, and Vince is one of our senior PMs, product managers. And they're going to be talking to you about how we can help surface insights from SCOM and fix some of its blind spots. Over to you guys.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Tim. I know we're trying to catch up on time a little bit, so we're going to try to keep things moving a bit here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. So yeah, I'm Jason Boudreau, VP of Product, as Tim mentioned, and then joined by Vincent. We're going to talk today. Many of you have probably seen SquaredUp. We have hosted and sponsored SCOMathon in the past. Most of you won't be seeing SquaredUp for the first time, but we do have some new things that we want to share as well. So we're going to get into that. As some of you, excuse me, with my throat early over here in the States, just getting my voice going. Some of you probably already know, so we're all about visibility. We instantly surface any data from SCOM. We bring it to the top with all kinds of beautiful visualizations. So what that means is we've added these out-of-the-box dashboards to get you visualizing your SCOM data kind of in no time at all. You can build custom visualizations with our dashboard designer, so that's meant to be quick and easy. We have tons of community-driven content for visualizations on top of any of your other data, your management packs, all kinds of live views. And then what we do on top of that is it's not just about visualizing your SCOM data, but it's actually about mapping that data to what matters, which is the application. So it's our application modeling. We have this VADA, Visual Application Discovery Engine, which is powered by SCOM and your agents. So that's meant to be easy to configure. We have all kinds of status dashboards that are meant to show the SLA reporting of your applications as well. So Vincent's going to get into that. No need for me to spend too much time talking about that because I'd love to see that more in demo, to be honest. So visualize, surface, and share your data. So the idea is to try to bring all these insights to your entire organization, put them on wall boards, get people kind of interacting and engaging with what's happening across your infrastructure environments, what's happening across your applications, and the health of all of those. And that's meant to be easy to share. So we have kind of one-click sharing. And yeah, just kind of get through that pretty quickly. So Vincent, let's just take a look at SquaredUp in action.
All right, thanks, Jason. Let me share my screen. Okay. Right, we should see SquaredUp SCOM edition.
Yep.
Excellent. Right, yeah, so quick tour of SquaredUp SCOM edition. So SquaredUp SCOM edition is an HTML5 web application. It's easy to install on a Windows server, and it plugs directly into SCOM. So you can start using it in minutes, basically. All the data comes straight from the SCOM API, and out of the box, what we try and do is give you a number of dashboards to get you started. So for instance, we have this NOC operator dashboard that will be showing me my alerts and what's basically going on in our on-premise infrastructure when it's loading. Yeah, there it is. So alerts and basically what's critical at a glance. We also make available a bunch of out-of-the-box dashboards for various teams as well, or areas of your IT infrastructure. So whether you're looking at IIS web servers, or whether you are responsible for the SQL exchange, or whatever is your area of responsibility, we try and give you those out-of-the-box dashboards just to get you started quickly. And we do that thanks in part to our community. We've created dashboard packs for us, as well as SCOM management packs that have been created by SquaredUp, but also by our partners and the community. So right out of the gate, you get all of those dashboards to get started, but very quickly you'll want to probably create your own dashboard as well. And that's easy. I'm going to try and do it in about a minute. I'm going to create a very simple dashboard just to show you how easy it is to do that. So we're going to keep it simple. That's going to be a Windows Server. If I can type Windows Server dashboard. What I really want to see here is maybe a status style just to show me the high-level status of my Windows server, so I can use our easy to scope panel. I will also be looking for Windows Server computer group. I think that should give me what I need. And I'm starting to already see some data coming through. We change the display, and here it is. We've got our Windows servers showing their status. I probably also want an alert tile as well for those servers too, so I can also kind of look at it. Look at things at a glance. I'm going to do that here to Windows Server Computer Group, I think it is. There it is. I've got my alerts on those servers coming along nicely, showing the top 5 alerts. I can always expand and show a bit more. And then probably what I want is maybe a performance visualization as well. We'll probably do a very simple line graph. Again, Windows Server Computer Group. And I'm probably going to choose, I guess, memory as a metric. So we give you out of the box search as well. So it's very easy to find the metric from SCOM. And here we go. We've got a dashboard in hopefully just under a minute. But the magic doesn't just stop with dashboards. With drill downs and at-a-glance visualizations, you can essentially navigate through the SCOM object model, especially when you're trying to investigate a specific problem. So the alert tile is especially useful as you can sort of expand and collapse and see more information about the context or the description of a specific application. And you can also do some actions like selecting multiple alerts and maybe assigning it to another team, for instance. The line graph, you can also drill down to it. So if you're interested in a specific trend for server, maybe server memory, for instance, you can look at it with a range of time frame. And we use a SCOM data warehouse. That means the performance is really good, and we can essentially surface a lot more data. And we also give you the ability to compare to other groups as well, which is useful for trend analytics. And you can also export to Excel if you need to do more manipulation as well. Just going back to this dashboard, we can also drill down to, say, the server showing as red, and that will essentially give us a number of perspectives on which we can sort of explore this server in a little bit more. So this is a Windows server, so I can use the Windows server perspective, for instance. That's going to show me out of the box the CPU, memory, the disk. I can drill down to the disk and just have a look at even more details as well. Next up is enterprise application management. So enterprise application management in SquaredUp essentially elevates SCOM beyond infrastructure monitoring to essentially help you build dashboards at application level. Again, at a glance, we show you, once you've created the application, we will show you sort of statuses, overall status of those applications. You can also do things like availability reporting, which is really useful if you want to share the status of your applications to shareholders or maybe on a wall monitor. And from here, you can also drill down to an application. So I'm going to use the sales app, which is looking unhealthy at the moment, and have a look at what we've got. So an enterprise application in SquaredUp is made of 3 tiers. The availability is a way to look at how the application performs from an end user point of view. And that's a key metric that basically from which we derive the health of your application. You can use simple URL or TCP monitor. You can write your own custom PowerShell script to monitor the response of your application, or you can use existing SCOM monitor as well. We can also create a map of the application. That's really useful. And that's essentially using visual application discovery analysis, also known as VADA. And VADA is an automatic discovery engine. It's powered by your SCOM agents, and it lets you dynamically add components, connections, and services, map your application. And with that, we can then do a lot of drill down analysis and sort of root cause analysis on whenever something is a part of your application might be not performing as well as it should. And of course, from here, we can as well drill down to any servers and sort of look at something in more details as well. And finally, you probably have, we'll go back to the Windows Server dashboard we created, and you probably want to share it. And sharing dashboards is easy with SquaredUp, whether you want to embed a dashboard in maybe SharePoint or maybe your intranet sites, or perhaps you just want to display the dashboard on the wall screen. And so we do it using a feature called Open Access, which is here. So essentially, you just toggle it on, and it will generate a URL which you can then embed or display on the full screen. And the great thing about Open Access is it does not consume a user license. So it's essentially unlimited sharing of a dashboard in and within your organization. So that's a really quick tour of SquaredUp SCOM Edition. We always listen to our customers and to the SCOM community as well to understand how they use our product. And in turn, we always make regular updates and improvements to the product. And in fact, in the last 12 months, we have launched no less than 5 major product updates that our customers love. So yeah, stay tuned. And that's it for the really, really quick tour, Jason. Back to you. You're muted, Jason.
Thank you. Forgot that I put it on. Thank you, Vincent. Cool demo. All kinds of great visualizations. Like I said, SquaredUp, we're all about visibility. So for the second half of our presentation, we're talking about some blind spots that exist within SCOM, even with all of the maybe management packs that you're using. So when it comes to monitoring, because I guess in the second half of your demo there, Vincent, you talked about at the application level, understanding visibility. And not only is the Microsoft data stack responsible for elements within that, the visibility for applications, but there's the broader data center to think about as well. And then there's visibility more and more towards the cloud as those applications are being hosted, not just on-prem, but in elements of the cloud. So whether it's Google, Azure, Microsoft environments as well. And so what that actually means is, using your Veda diagram that we just saw in your demo, Vincent, you might have some of your infrastructure hosted on VMs and being monitored by VMware, but without maybe the VMware management pack, you don't have visibility of that. You might also have a bit of your application, hosted, like I said, in Microsoft Azure. And SCOM is going to have a hard time giving you visibility into that environment. And then there's even from the DevOps perspective, the teams that are developing code and deploying across for that infrastructure, or rather for that application. Do you have visibility into the changes that they're making that could be causing issues with that application? So there is kind of a bigger world to understand than perhaps SCOM and your Microsoft infrastructure has visibility of. And so we're kind of looking at these as blind spots. So again, even with all the out of the box Microsoft management packs and all the management packs that the community provides, it's going to be difficult potentially to fill all those. Why? It could be that it's just that they're very expensive. So some of these management packs that vendors at SCOMathon are sharing with us today are actually awesome. But maybe if you need visibility for the full stack, it does get expensive. If you want to author those management packs in-house, then a lot of you probably do have those skills to do that. But then what we see sometimes is the teams that we're trying to connect into and surface visibility from. So it could be the DevOps team, the network team, the VMware team. Sometimes they just lack engagement with SCOM. And so that means they're going to maybe not engage with you as you're trying to build the management pack. So it's an alignment of interests in several ways. So it's not just a technology challenge, but sometimes a political challenge in an organization as well. So we sort of, I guess if I were to draw a map of how we see it today, we see that there is these other data center tooling and other cloud and DevOps tooling that are oftentimes run by these different siloed teams, the icon on the bottom left there. And then there's sometimes the Microsoft world and the SCOM world, and there's the visibility there, but it's kind of like disconnected. What we're trying to envision here is a world where this is kind of all glued together, and SCOM can be that layer on top, right? That single pane of glass everyone's been trying to achieve with SCOM, and in many cases successful with management packs, but in many cases there's limits to that success as well. So we're trying to glue it all together to fill that gap, make it possible to roll up status from any one of these tools into your SCOM environment without having to add a management pack or author a management pack for each one. And what that allows you to do is those individual teams that are then running the cloud or different data center environments or running code, they can then dashboard in not just SquaredUp for SCOM, but an ecosystem of SquaredUp dashboarding products and enroll the status from their tools up to SCOM. And we're going to make that possible today with actually with our next generation dashboarding platform. So SquaredUp for SCOM remains the visualization layer for SCOM, but we are also sharing, and we won't go into much detail today, but a more generalized and general purpose dashboarding solution independent of SCOM. And that's going to allow any of your teams to do all the simple, awesome dashboarding that Vincent just showed, but across any data that they're doing. And then they can plug their visualizations into SCOM with a dedicated SCOM management pack to SquaredUp Cloud, we're calling it. So it's kind of a bit to wrap your head around, because today we're talking about SquaredUp's SCOM edition. Powering this is SquaredUp Cloud. Again, I'm not going to talk much today about SquaredUp Cloud, but just for background, I do have one slide that describes SquaredUp Cloud is basically taking the inspiration of SCOM's object model and building our own graph-based object model that's powered by today 40 plus native plugins to all of these existing tools. So customers can dashboard, independently on top of those existing tools that they have, and then they can surface that visibility into SCOM directly. So again, SquaredUp Cloud, it's independent of SCOM. It has 40 plus native plugins. It's designed for your infrastructure teams, maybe your VMware, your SolarWinds, your Nagios, your Kubernetes. It's also designed for cloud and DevOps. So you can build custom plugins with PowerShell. And this SquaredUp Cloud is a SaaS solution. So very easy for those teams that aren't engaged with SCOM to get going quickly. So if you're interested to see how that could work, what we have is basically stitching it all together is unlimited visibility with an ecosystem of SquaredUp solutions. So that's really how we're evolving visibility beyond SCOM. It's with an ecosystem of visibility solutions. So the goal is to extend SCOM visibility with those 40 plus plugins in our cloud product. It's plug and play. So that means basically your other teams dashboarding with SquaredUp Cloud have all the same benefits that you have with SquaredUp for SCOM, but independent of SCOM. And then they can just plug that into your SCOM environment through our SCOM Cloud Management Pack. That gives you the integrated rollups, alerting, SLO reporting from any information or status from those other tools. And then that plugs also into your enterprise applications and your Veda maps that you saw in Vincent's demo earlier. The goal is to kind of delegate the monitoring and the visualization of those other tools to the teams that run those tools, and then they plug in to your SquaredUp through our ecosystem of integrations. Hopefully that made sense. If not, I think Vincent's demo is going to paint a broader picture of that, or a more clear picture of that. So I'll hand it back to you, Vincent. Cool. I got your screen. Thanks.
Okay. Can you hear me as well? Okay, brilliant. It's going to be a quick one. I think time is running out very quickly. So how do we do that? So we go back to our enterprise application here and the Veda map. The challenge here is we are not seeing everything that this application is made of. Essentially, we are missing, the web servers are hosted on VMware. We have some microservices as well that are deploying code to the app servers, and that's coming from AWS Lambda. We've got a pipeline on Azure DevOps, and also the network team is using SolarWinds to actually manage to monitor the devices that are part of this application as well. And so we have a lot of blind spots that we can't see here. And by introducing SquaredUp Cloud and the 40 plus plugin that Jason referred to, we can start then adding things like SolarWinds or VMware, or in that case, I'm going to very, very quickly show you the Azure DevOps setup, very easy to use without, I'm going to have to really move my window a little bit, sorry. Essentially give us your API key, or enter your API key or your access token or whatever it is, connect to Azure DevOps in that case. And what we do is we index the objects in your tool, whether that's VMware, Azure DevOps, and so on. And then you can start creating your own metrics in SquaredUp Cloud. So AWS Lambda, the team that's looking after AWS told us the error rate is important to monitor. So when that goes below or above a certain threshold, we need to be aware of it. And so we've enabled monitoring on this style, as you can see the screen, because the threshold is actually below what it should be. And so you can start mapping your dependencies, whether that's Azure DevOps or some Kubernetes, or in that case, SolarWinds, Orion, or VMware. And once you've done that, then using a SCOM extension management pack that connects to SquaredUp Cloud, then we can start populating the sales application with all of its dependencies. So we can see here, we are starting to see the Lambda, the Azure DevOps, the Kubernetes appearing, as well as SolarWinds and VMware as well. And we can drill down, take a quick look and see, in this case, this lambda is showing green, that's all good. We can drill down to the error rate and even drill out to SquaredUp Cloud and sort of see how things are. So essentially, with EAM, X, and SquaredUp Cloud, you are surfacing all your dependencies into SCOM. So SCOM is still the place where you're storing those health states, and then SquaredUp SCOM Edition lets you visualize it. I'm probably going to stop here, Jason. I'm looking at the time. Probably will need to cut it short a little bit, but hopefully that gives you an end-to-end demo.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Vincent. I think we got the idea, all that data within our cloud product and then stitched in. So cool. I'll just bring it back quickly, close this out so we can move on, make sure there's time for break before the next session. So I think for those of you that know us, we work with Microsoft very closely. We got a lot of customers that love it, but I guess we'll just sort of end up by saying, if you're interested in SquaredUp, go ahead and go to squareup.com. You can try it out, get plugging into your SCOM environment quickly, surface all your data. If you want to learn about how we can connect into all your ecosystem of tools too, we'd love to talk to you about that. But for now, being conscious of time, we'll say thank you. And of course, if you have any questions, drop them in. Thank you for those that already have.
Thanks, everyone.